On December 6th, 1969, 55 years ago today, former heavyweight champion Sonny Liston fought former sparring partner Leotis Martin. The strange thing was that despite losing this fight by knockout, Sonny Liston ended Leotis Martin's career in a very horrific way, something that had never happened before in boxing history. A fighter won the fight but had to quit just because he won. The match was slated for 12 rounds. The winner would be recognized as the heavyweight champion of the newly formed North American Boxing Federation. Leotis Martin, who resided in Philadelphia, was a former national Golden Gloves and national AAU middleweight champion. As a pro, he was 30-5 with 18 knockouts, but he was given scant chance of defeating Sonny Liston, who had won 14 in a row, 13 inside the distance, since his second defeat to Muhammad Ali. He had yet reestablished himself in the public mind as one of the hardest-hitting punchers ever. Martin had several other things working against him. He was a small heavyweight. Liston, who came in at 220, would outweigh him by 21 pounds. And he wasn't a full-time boxer. In Philadelphia, he was a machinist for the Budd Company, one of America's leading manufacturers of metal components for automobiles and railroad cars. Martin had helped Liston train for his matches with Floyd Patterson and Muhammad Ali. When a big-name fighter is matched against a former sparring partner, there is always the suspicion that a gentleman's agreement is in effect. Liston versus Martin played out somewhat like the fight between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, although it lasted 2 rounds longer. After 8 frames, Liston was ahead by 2 points on one of the scorecards and by 3 points on the others under Nevada's 5-point must system. A flash knockdown of Martin in round 4 contributed to the imbalance. Martin could sense that Liston was tiring, but it wasn't apparent to those in the audience, reportedly 1,800 paid, and that made the drama that was about to unfold all the more dramatic. In round 9, Leotis landed 3 unanswered combinations, one right after the other. The third was the classic 1-2. Left to the body, right to the jaw. Sonny Liston pitched forward, landing face first to the canvas, dead to the world. The ref counted 10 over his prone body. He could have counted to 300, said Review Journal ringside reporter Jimmy Cox. Nevada's ringside physician, Dr. Donald Romeo, came equipped with capsules of ammonia. The first one that he broke and waved under Sonny's nose had no effect. The second capsule brought Liston out of his slumber. Sonny Liston was reportedly 39 years old, but was widely considered to be somewhat older than his listed age. The brutal manner in which he succumbed to Leotis Martin seemingly indicated that he had reached the end of the line, but he wasn't done quite yet. 6 months later, at the Armory in Jersey City, he butchered Chuck Wepner, the Bayonne Bleeder, in a fight stopped by the ring doctor after 9 rounds. That would prove to be his final fight. On January 5th, 1971, Sonny's wife Geraldine returned to their home in Las Vegas from a 12-day holiday trip to St. Louis, her hometown, and found her husband dead in their bedroom. Rigor mortis had already set in. The coroner's report said Liston died from congestive heart failure, but that didn't explain what brought on the coronary, and there's strong circumstantial evidence that he was a victim of foul play. Leotis Martin's triumph elevated him to number 1 in the heavyweight rankings of the WBA, the sport's paramount sanctioning body. A fight with fellow Philadelphian Smokin' Joe Frazier was his likely reward, but it wasn't to be. Martin emerged from his fight with Liston with a detached retina. Back in those days, retinal detachment surgery was a hit-and-miss proposition. The most famous boxer to have his retina repaired mid-career was Sugar Ray Leonard, but that didn't happen until 1982, and it was a far more complicated procedure than what it is nowadays. 3 ophthalmic surgeons attended Sugar Ray during his 2-hour operation at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. Leotis Martin basically had no choice but to retire. His signature win would be the final fight of his career. Martin returned to Philadelphia and to his job in the foundry and lived out his days quietly in the city's racially diverse Mount Airy neighborhood. In November of 1995, he passed away after suffering a stroke brought on by diabetes and hypertension. He was 56 years old. I am sorry for such a sad ending. I hope you find this video informative.